Carner, Biofield tuner. And I'm just going to start with a little bit of sound as we're slipping into the future. There's a whole concept around future us, future selves that we're going to tap into today. But let's just start by being here for a second, right? If you can breathe and arrive into this video, in this experience, by first arriving into your body. Because your body can only be right here, right now. Nice. And given literally everything, right? The transition of fall, the transition of the upcoming transition of politics in America, the eclipse season celestially that happens every year around this time, that is starting next week in earnest with an eclipse, a lunar eclipse. Let's ground into the fact that if you're watching this now or in the future through change, right? Grounded doesn't mean still. It means being present. So you can be present and in motion, present and in transition, grounded and stressed out, quite frankly, right? That's a thing. You can be grounded and experiencing duress of any nature. Nice. Being grounded doesn't always equal being zen-like and calm. Good. So I'm just going to kind of scattershot some sort of future concepts that have been rolling through my awareness and my life experience. This idea of creating a future, the idea of time isn't linear and it's a little bit of a construct, and that one can, in fact, in many ways, travel through time and travel to the future. The concept that we can engage with our future self or our higher selves. And then most recently, I watched just this morning a little video about decision making, and how when you're making a difficult decision, but you're not comparing apples to apples, you're in fact comparing apples to oranges. Philosophically, this video was proposing, I think Ruth Chang was the philosopher that was cited as coming up with this concept. What you do is you say, what will that, rather than thinking, okay, it's not apples to apples, one isn't intrinsically better than the other, they are different. So then how do I make a hard choice between two things that are quite different? And this video suggested that what you do is you make a third reason, which is, what will this decision make of me, right? What future self am I committing to if I choose apples or if I choose oranges? My future self, if I choose oranges, my future self will be someone who has oranges. But if I choose apples, then I am committing to the future version of myself that is into apples and is going to have apples, right? Nice. And so much of biofield tuning, so much of doing personal work, self-actualization, realization, sort of broader abstracted spiritual practices, so much of them are around cultivating mindfulness, self-awareness, and ultimately being able to respond and assess and discern your way through life more effectively, right? That's kind of the name of the game. That's what we're shooting for. To be able to respond rather than react, assess appropriately self and outside of self, and then to discern what we want to do next. That's what all these things are tools for, ultimately. And so much, like I coach myself, my inner coach, and the intuitive coaching that I do with clients and family and friends and loved ones, so often, because life is life, right? There are things that are difficult or hard or challenging. It's not that it's not worth it, and it's not that there's not joy and happiness baked in, but transitions, changing by their nature, are stressful. Change is stress. Stress is how we grow. Stress can be quite healthy. It is healthy. Stress is needed to grow with integrity, with plants, with animals, and with humans. So one of my coaching questions to discern and navigate life is often, how do I want to show up to this? Right? It might not be something that I'm into, like a root canal. However, the root canal is going to be the root canal. And how do I want to show up? Do I want to show up in fear and contraction and anger and resentment and anxiety? Or do I want to care for myself and show up as neutrally as I can to this thing that is a root canal, right? And that really makes a difference. But this video, so in a lot of ways, I feel like those are cousins of each other, right? How do I want to show up to this? That's making an active, creative choice of how I want to arrive into the future. But then, like a slightly different take on that is, what future self of me am I committing to by making this choice? Like, I've been to the future, and Rebecca, says, thanks, Rebecca, for having made this, and this choice, because in so doing, you committed to creating the future me that is now here. Committing to future selves. If you will, there is some noise on set. If you will please excuse me. Actually, we're just going to live through it. There is no way to effectively work with that. Let me give an indicator. I'm on YouTube Live right now. Oh. Sorry about that. So what future self did I just commit to? Wow, you really can't. How do I want to show up to that? It is really interesting. Like, how do I want to show up to that? And the other thing, I don't know. I'm really in this frequency of committing to a future self. There is a forecasting, because often, so much of the time, I ground into the present. How do I, from here, want to show up to that? So that's in the now. And then the other question, or the other thing that I often think about, I just changed to the 144 hertz from the 174. The other thing that I think a lot about is I leave gifts for future Rebecca. But the idea of committing to a future Rebecca who has certain things, that's different than I'm going to do my future self a favor from here. there's a weird temporal. Committing to a future self is forecasting a little bit, whereas leaving a gift for future Rebecca, that is back here in the now. And kind of forward center of mass versus grounded and upright in the now. Yeah. Yeah, and it's really to be both. Yeah, like if you think of electricity, right? Two nodes and the little arc that makes the jump. You're in the dance between those two things, the now and the future self. Am I leaving a gift for my future self, or by doing something or not doing something in the here and now, I am committing to a future self? Yeah. Wow. Would we love each other? Love each other, love ourselves? Would each of us love ourselves that much to commit to a future self? Right? To all the people who consider them commitment phobes to either other people or to jobs or whatever, is that, I would imagine it can't not be, some inability to truly commit to self, right? To really want that for yourself, to be able to dream of a life that you do want. And that isn't at the expense of having gratitude and being pleased with where you are now. It is fine to think, I've come a long way and I'd like to go further. Or I have gratitude for what I have now, and I would commit to a future self that has also X, Y, and Z. Okay, I am going to, this got really deep and wide. Thank you for all the energetics. So I'm gonna, with my weighted forks, which I don't use on videos very often, I'm going to pull off the vibratory surround sound of all the noise, right? We make these decisions, right? To commit to a future self, you have to be able to discern when an off-ramp that is filled with noise is pulling you off the path that would lead you to that future self, right? So that takes some awareness and some discernment, because we are absolutely bombarded with noise, distractions, and off-ramps from our path. Boom, like all the time. Wow, yeah. I mean, all the times. And it's like, yeah, I know it, my phone and my this and my that. But literally, thoughts, habituated thoughts, habituated mindsets of our current culture are in and of themselves distractions and off ramps, enticing us off the path to the future selves that we have committed to. So I'm pulling off. If you can imagine, okay, so I talk a lot to my clients about our fields, our biofields are one of the easiest ways to envision them and kind of make them concrete so that you can understand this concept is thinking of a snow globe at Christmas, where you have the little, Santa or whatever little castle in the middle of a globe that's filled with I don't even know what. And then when you turn it upside down, all the snow, all the little flicky things get immersed in the field. Okay, so noise in the field is just like a snow globe that you've just turned upside down. So if you can imagine these forks being almost like little magnets, these barrels, right, being magnets, and they are attracting all the little bits of noise, all the distractions, all the bullshittery that's floating around in your snow globe. It collects it. There, they made a little clang. And it's drawing it out towards the edges of the snow globe, and then when it hits the edge of the snow globe, right, it just slides down. There we go, and falls back down to the ground, right? So then that reduces the noise, it reduces the distortion in your field, the static, right? Even though they're pretty, okay, so here's the thing, I quite like snow globes. They are very pretty, but if you consider that when you turn that thing upside down and all the snow gets dispersed throughout the field, that is the same as like static on an old-timey television, right? So while they're awesome and quite holiday festive in a snow globe, you don't want static and noise in your field because it obscures incoming information and it also distorts any transmissions from your field outward. So the clarifying of one's field, like, that's what I get up. That's what I do for a living. That's a typical day at the office for me. That is, among other things, but truly, fundamentally, that is what biofield tuning and any energy work that clarifies with intention, that's what it's doing. It's reducing the noise and the static in your signal. So, wow, and what really just came up is that each one of those, what if you imagine that each one of those little flicks of snow had a should on it? Well, my mama thinks I should do this, and my boss wants me, and I should do this, and, you know, blah, and whatever, and I should lose 5 pounds, and I should and should. Okay, so like, what if you took all the shoulds away and just let them all settle back down to the bottom of your snow globe? I should have done this. I should be further along in my career. I should get there we go. Now we're going to reground and just being safely in our own snow globe. I'm going to do a couple of strikes and let's ground us in ourselves as we are now without the noise. Like, just be you. Oh, the sweetness. Just be you in your globe. Right here, right now. Without the noise. Just self. Divine. Perfect. Human. Beautiful. Worthy. Loved. Cherished. And let's ground into that. And from this slightly more quieted place, if you start to dream into a life for yourself that is more robustly resourced with things that you would want for you, and it doesn't matter what it is, no justifications needed. I would like more books that have green covers on them. Okay, that's legit. What if anything that you really wanted for you was just intrinsically and automatically 100% legit? Because it is. Oh, wow, I can really feel that. God, the validation, you guys. I'm going to put a fork right here on my sternum. And I will put myself as a proxy body for all of us. Our heart's desires are legit. We don't have to justify them. They don't have to be validated by anybody else. A truly beautiful want or need is legit. What if you really, really want to change career paths and it would be less money or less prestige and people might give you the side eye? That's okay. What if you're deeply altruistic but really, 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 really want a really high-paying job, but you think that that is somehow in conflict? It's not. It's legit. You can be giving and want to be abundant. Also legit. Same with relationship. What if you really want to be alone and free, but you're in a marriage, or vice versa? Whatever it is, it's okay to want that. It's also okay for your wants and needs to change, because they can't not change. It's okay to really, really want something now, and in 5, 10 months, 5, 10 years, want and need something different, or maybe the opposite of what you wanted before. Also, you guessed it, legit, straight up legit. And at each juncture, you can commit to future self. Oh my God, yeah, there. That felt good. People want to. The fear of commitment to self and to other things isn't lack of desire to commit. It's weird. It almost felt like a hesitancy to just know that you can. Yeah, you can. To be sincere and all in is a sin in a cynical world. But cynicism is stagnation. Cynicism is the lie that inaction and fear tells to dress itself up to look like safety, but it's not safe. It's stagnation, which is ultimately leads to inaction and therefore death, right? Failure to thrive. It is the inverse of thriving. Say, God, good. There we go. There we go. Yeah. So maybe it's a two-parter, right? Commit to future self and then start asking, how do I want to show up to this? Like, you can always ask in every moment, like it's a good momentary, in the moment, extemporaneous grounding. How do I want to show up to this? When you kind of realize I'm either on autopilot or maybe I'm in reactive mode, rather than active mode, right? How do I want to show up to this? That is a good cross check for, am I in the now? But then the refrain, right, the chorus of the song that you keep going back to is, what future self have I committed to? Is that still the one I want to be and live into? And is what I'm doing now feeding that? Because if it isn't, I need to, then I'm in a distraction. Yeah, then I'm in a distraction. That's right. And that's okay. You know, again, God, how many times have I quoted G.I. Joe cartoons from the 70s? Like, if you realize you're in a distraction, that's okay. Knowing's half the battle. Knowing's half the battle. And then once you know, I got waylaid into a distraction. Okay. Redirect into that committed future self. There we go. Nice, nice, nice. I could feel that. Okay, good, 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 good. 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 I'll do the 417. To really shine up our snow globe, I'm going to do the 528. Nice. Oh, I felt that. Yes. Excellent, excellent. If the tool of the visualization of a snow globe worked for you, and if the idea of being able to sort of collect the snow bits and settle them down to the bottom and therefore quieting your field, if that worked for you, because that felt like it really made sense to a lot of people, use it, take it, make it yours. You can use it all the time. You can use it in the grocery store line, right? You can use it in your cubicle surrounded by difficult characters at work. You can use that. You always, there is a lot of noise. Okay, here's the last sort of context to remember. We each have our own fields. Each of these fields then uploads and uplinks and conglomerates into then the collective field. By its very nature, it's a collective. There's many. The collective field always has more noise. Intrinsically, this is true. Also, the culture that we live in is really noisy. So if you check in with your own personal snow globe and notice that it's super duper noisy, it's okay. You're living in noise. You're surrounded by deafening noise, so you are going to tend towards noise, particularly if you live in a highly populated area. There is density there. It's a thing. So if you notice, oh yeah, I want to do the snow globe exercise again. And if you kind of notice, wow, I was super noisy, don't beat yourself up. It's like, it's okay. Even Shaolin monks get wet in the rain, right? It's a thing. And you always get to quiet. You do always have agency over your own field, always. And the super extra bonus awesomeness of that is when any individual in the collective quietens their field, you are sending that transmission out. You are strengthening others who are also trying to quieten their field. You are strengthening that transmission. You're strengthening the signal of that radio station of calm in the collective. So not only do you benefit from it, but everyone around you benefits from your having done it too. And that's just awesome. Like, thanks, neighbor. Thanks, neighbor. Yeah, 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 yeah. All right. That is it for today. Rebecca's future self, to whom I am deeply committed, looks forward to seeing all of the future yous. Please like and share and subscribe to my channel. Please tell people about Biofield tuning. Check it out for free. Check out a session remote, come in person, find somebody near you, biofieldtuning.com. There are practitioners all over the globe. It helps. It helps in ways that are hard to describe, but really easy to feel. Love, love, love. Thanks, guys. Be well.